Hello my friends and welcome to No Nonsense Metal Reviews. I'm George and today I'm back with another underrated album review and recommendation. Another album that I feel is all too often overlooked and just doesn't really get the love and the attention and the praise that it deserves. So this album comes from Swedish power metal titans. They have become an absolute institution with their own brand and merchandising extraordinaire, their own crews, their own festivals, all this good stuff. I'm talking about the mighty Sabaton, and within their catalogue I think there's a couple of albums, to be honest, that are quite overlooked and underrated. But this album, entitled Attero Dominatus, is the second album from 2006, and I just feel that this album just doesn't get the love that it deserves. This is an overlooked and underrated gem, in my opinion. So, to give you a little bit of background, and I do appreciate that Sabaton and power metal in general is not everyone's cup of tea. It's an acquired taste. But judging by the status of this band being an absolute international phenomenon, that a lot of people do like Sabaton. There is no denying that. And I can sit here and I can talk about obscure black metal, boisterous, monstrous death metal, thrash metal, whatever. I can talk about that, and I love that stuff. But I also do have a bit of a soft spot for power metal, of the uplifting, glorious kind, and certainly when it's all about themes of war and history. So, this album, second album from the mighty Sabaton, it had a little bit of a tough act to follow, you could say, to put it lightly. The debut album, Primo Victoria, I believe this was 2005, the debut. This is a bit of a masterpiece. This set the benchmark very high. So this was going to be a tough act to follow, with tracks like that title track, Primo Victoria, with Panzer Battalion, Wolfpack, Stalingrad, and Metal Machine, glorious and rousing. Those tracks made that debut album an absolute benchmark, a fan favourite, and a really solid release. That was a tough act to follow. And then a couple of releases further down the line, you've got this absolute stunner. You've got The Art of War. So Attero Dominatus sits awkwardly between very big and very good albums. It's overshadowed by the brilliance and the success of the debut, and also some of their later albums, such as The Art of War or Coat of Arms, for example. Really big successes. Even Metalizer is pretty good, but not as good as Attero Dominatus. So I think that's the reason why this album is so overlooked. But it contains some great material. As I say, I know that power metal isn't everyone's cup of tea, and I know that Sabaton aren't everyone's cup of tea, but it's a band comprised of brilliant musicians. You've got vocalist Joachim Broden, Pa Sunderstrom, who is the bassist and kind of like founding member of the band. Then you've got Daniel Muir, you've got Oscar Montelius, Ricard Sunden, and Daniel Molbach. All great musicians, really are good musicians, and I think that Joachim's got a great voice as well. It's very distinctive, it's very unique. There aren't too many vocalists that sound like him. He's a proper good storyteller in his vocal performances and the way that he phrases those lyrics. So we kick off with Attero Dominatus. Rousing power metal. Great riffs, really good stuff. It's very uplifting, it's proper like battle music, charging across that battlefield, rifle in hand. This is the perfect soundtrack to that. So you get that title track, not the strongest track on the album, but a really good one. We've got Nuclear Attack, the second track there, which is a glorious heavy metal ripper. Got some great riffs there, very melodic. We've got the very dark and menacing, sinister Rise of Evil, about the rise of the Third Reich there. Menacing, rumbling, stomping bass, and these sort of big background synths painting a very dramatic soundscape there. A bit of an epic, about 8 minutes long, I think it is. Dark, menacing at times, but brilliant, rousing heavy metal elsewhere. We've got In the Name of God, which is a bit of an unusual one. I believe it's about sort of terrorists. A good heavy metal track. Very rousing track that follows that with We Burn. That's a great one. Angels Calling. Infectiously groovy, very catchy. Great riff work there. Then we've got Back in Control, about the Falklands, the retaking of the Falkland Islands, which is a personal highlight for me. I'm not overly patriotic, but I do like the lyrical themes there, and also it's a great, cracking power metal, heavy metal number. Then we've got Light in the Black, which is another good one. Bit of a more melancholic track. And then we've got the glorious Metal Crew, which is obviously lyrically, it's phrased of all different heavy metal bands, names, kind of merged together, reference to Maiden and Priest and the Pretty Maids and Metal Church and blah, 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 blah. All their favourites, clearly. But to be honest, that's a great anthemic power metal party track. Another good one. And on this form, this sort of re-armed release from 2010 through Nuclear Blast, you get inclusions of a few bonus tracks as well. But I would honestly say that this is just really quite enjoyable power metal. You get some great riffs there, some real groove along melodic riffs. Really good guitar work. As I say, throughout, just these guys are really good musicians. I like the prominence of Parr's bass as well. The synths are really catchy. It's got that kind of energetic, upbeat vibe to it, which is interesting because a lot of the themes that we're talking about here and that they are singing about, they are dark. Dropping nuclear bombs or the rise of the Third Reich, these are pretty dark, difficult subjects to be broaching. But even so, they do a cracking job here. Particular highlights, in my opinion, include Nuclear Attack, because I absolutely love the catchiness of that riff. It's a proper tap your fingers along to track when you're sitting there working away. As I have actually been listening to this album quite a few times over the last couple of weeks in preparation for this review while working, and yeah, it's a good one to have on in the background, very uplifting. And actually, this is an album that I have felt quite strongly about for a long time, so it's a very appropriate one to finally pick out as an underrated album. So Nuclear Attack, real highlight. Then I would say Angels Calling and Back in Control. Definitely check them out. If you like your Priest, if you like Primal Fear, if you like Halloween, if you like your good power metal, heavy metal, then give Sabaton a go. And if you've been totally put off Sabaton because of their massive status, delve deep into their catalogue, and I'm sure you'll probably find a few little gems that you'll enjoy. Just give it a chance. It's about 40 minutes long, so it's not a massive commitment. But there you have it. An underrated album, in my opinion. Attero, Dominatus, the second album from Swedish power metal giants Sabaton. What are your thoughts and opinions on Attero, Dominatus? What are your thoughts and opinion on Sabaton? Very interested to hear thoughts and opinions of others. But thank you very much for watching, my friends. Do check back soon for more reviews and recommendations of all the good heavy things. Above all, my friends, do take care and stay heavy.